Over 300 civil society organizations have risen in strong condemnation of the state of emergency declared in Rivers State by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Representatives of the groups at a press briefing at the Sheikh Musa Yaradua Center in Abuja on Friday expressed disapproval of the president's decision. Correspondent Josephine Beatrice reports.
The groups argued that the suspension of the democratically elected governor, deputy governor and members of the State House of Assembly is an abuse of executive power, a violation of Nigeria's constitutional order, and the undermining of democracy in Nigeria. They noted that such actions without due process set a precedent that could undermine democratic institutions in Nigeria.
It was a split, and some assembly members defected. They defected, and you now had a pro-Wike and a pro-Fubara. In a democracy where they're supposed to be working for the people, giving them good governance, accountability, and transparency, that should worry every one of us. We talk about Nigeria, where it's going to. And we have to understand that if we do not fix politics, if we say it's none of our business, then the things that are happening in Nigeria today will continue to happen, where some few citizens who are supposedly elected into office to serve the people begin to serve only their self-interest.
There has been a coup against our youth, against every Nigerian. What the president has done is not just unconstitutional, it is anti-constitutional, it is anti-democracy, where a president abrogates to himself the unilateral decision to remove a sitting governor, the governor's deputy, and the whole House of Assembly of a state.
The groups said even though it is the prerogative of the president to declare a state of emergency as outlined in the Constitution, this power is not absolute. It is subject to legislative oversight and judicial review to prevent abuse.
We saw a situation where legislators, people representing the majority of Nigerians, went into plenary or went into this meeting that they convened, and we saw that if you know that you are in support of it, say aye. For a constitutional requirement that says 2/3 majority. But unfortunately, at this time in history, Nigerians are seeing a situation where their legislators, with a voice vote, approved the proclamation of the president. This is clearly unconstitutional.
The civil society groups called on Nigerians to demand a reversal of the state of emergency in Rivers State and advocate for a functional democracy. The groups also urged the government to uphold its constitutional mandate and avoid actions that threaten the democratic rights of the people of Rivers State and all Nigerians.
Our demands: 1. Immediate reversal of the state of emergency. We demand an immediate reversal of the unconstitutional removal of the governor, deputy governor, and House of Assembly members in Rivers State. 2. Legislative oversight. We call on members of the National Assembly who were not part of yesterday's charade to speak up against the violation of the Constitution. We also call on Nigerians to make their displeasure known to their representatives. Judiciary operating on merit. There will be several lawsuits in the coming days, and I'm sure we all know that. We require the judiciary to review each case on its merit and not rely on technicalities to dismiss the cases. 4. Restoration of constitutional order. We urge all stakeholders, including the judiciary, civil society, and the international community to closely monitor the situation in Rivers State and ensure that any emergency measures are strictly in line with constitutional and democratic principles.
The declaration of a state of emergency, as announced by President Tinubu on March 18, 2025, has sparked widespread criticism and concern among Nigerians. The civil society's group's condemnation is the latest in a growing chorus of voices calling for a reversal of the decision and a return to democratic governance in Rivers State. In Abuja, I am Josephine Bitrus for Signature TV.